Make yourself comfortable and bring your attention to the breath for a few moments. It's always nice to bring our attention to something so neutral as the breath. We've been breathing all day long and probably not paying much attention to it. Unless there's a shortage of the breath, and then our attention is brought immediately to it. But it's a very useful tool for our meditation practices. And as subtle as it might be, notice if there's any kind of feeling that comes about from bringing your attention to the breath. Does it feel pleasant or unpleasant for any reason? And notice the feelings in the body in general. Does the body feel pleasant or unpleasant at the moment? Notice how you feel within the chair, sitting on the cushion. How your posture feels. And also associated with the body, with the breathing and the body itself, is the senses in the form of hearing. Just bring your attention to what you're hearing right now. Is any of this necessarily pleasant or unpleasant? Or maybe it's just neutral. Sometimes that neutral aspect is very hard to pinpoint. And it all depends on our environment. We might be in a very calming, fairly quiet place at the moment. Not too many distracting sounds. Perhaps outside my voice. But then we can bring our attention to our thoughts and notice if there's any pleasant or unpleasant thoughts or feelings that come from these thoughts that are arising. And we should know that a feeling arises with every sense experience that we have. Most of them are unnoticed. But they arise and fall along with the experience, with the sense experience itself. Once there's contact, there's a feeling associated with it. Sometimes we can be so mindful and so aware of this, that we can see good, pleasant feelings and unpleasant feelings arise and not be affected by it. Such as when we're in meditation or when we're calm. It seems like we have the ability to take the edge off of these pleasant and unpleasant feelings. And we should know this far in our practice that when these strong feelings come up, there's a rising of an I or a my, which we are looking at as the self, and this is actually sunyata, the becoming of a self or the birth of a self. Primarily resulting in attachment and grasping to having more of these pleasant feelings or less of these pleasant feelings. In other words, I wanting more of this or I wanting less of this, rather than just backing up a little bit and observing with mindfulness, observing with awareness, and seeing it for what it is, rather than seeing it with the conditioned mind as this being right or this being wrong. So we can learn to catch these things. And we can learn to experience pleasant feelings and know that there's unpleasant feelings without being affected by them. In other words, it's just life unfolding itself. And that's all there really is when we look at it. It's just life. But we feel that it's happening to me. But if we can see it as unfolding as just life, but not necessarily my life, it's much more pleasant, much more flowing. Without the pushing and pulling that we often do. And then we learn to allow life to just unfold without trying to be the manipulator of it. Still enjoying life, but not taking it quite so seriously as far as becoming and trying to have this and trying to become that, trying to be this and be that. It's as if life is too short for that kind of nonsense. So we learn to see through this veil or this deception of the self, self-deception, the illusion of the self. And then we just see life for what it is, let it unfold as it will. Less struggle, less selfing. And there's basically much more clarity in life. So again, bring your attention to the breath. Notice any feelings that might rise, pleasant or unpleasant. Even try to pay attention to the neutral feelings. Just like the Buddha taught, it all seems to start with the breath. Simple practice.